I'm only here to help you with your disputes and keep you on track.
I think we've got critical mass for the state. We don't need to
All
worry.
right, Mr. Gayan, for purposes of our court reporter, please introduce everybody on your team, and then I'll go to Mr. Sneed and have him do the same thing.
You got it. Let me just confirm. Are we on the record, Madam Court Reporter?
We are on the record, yes.
Okay, great. Good morning. Michael Gayan for the state of Nevada, also with me on Zoom today. From my office, Will Sykes and Richard High. We have Mark Kruger from the Attorney General's office. Also have Chris Terzo, my co-counsel, Phil Carlson and Michaela Holweiler, my co-counsel, and Francesca Bergerett from Kemp Jones as well, co-counsel. And I believe, I see Will Lemkel has also joined co-counsel, and Samantha Feely from the AG's office. And I believe that's it for this very moment in time.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is David Sneed on behalf of Meta in this case, all the Meta defendants in this case. And with me are Dan Waite here for Meta. In addition, a couple of associates from my firm are also on the Zoom. Patrick Nutter and Julie Meyer are here. I believe Ms. Peterson had planned to dial in, and she might join us perhaps a little bit late, but we are prepared to proceed nonetheless.
All right, Mr. Waite, anybody else on your team?
Sorry, we should probably just clarify that the only ones actually making an appearance for Meta are Mr. Sneed and myself, because the others mentioned have not been admitted pro hoc. They're just observing.
But their names are on the screen, so if the court reporter needs spellings, they'll follow up with somebody to get them.
Right.
All right. As a reminder, because we have a court reporter, if you speak, please identify yourself by name so the court reporter can make a good record. How are we doing on our case management order, guys?
Michael Gayan for the state. We're doing well. The state got Meta's responses, I think, last Thursday afternoon. We're working through those. I think we're down to really two issues, one on whether to use judicial days or calendar days. So we'll go back and forth with Meta on that. But the only real substantive issue or more substantive issue is the treatment of prior deposition transcripts. The state had a paragraph in there. Meta responded with something that's not acceptable to the state. It's basically the dispute that we described at the last hearing for you. So I think the state's response to Meta will be to just delete that paragraph and punt that issue down the road instead of trying to cram it into the CMO with it being due to the court in 2 days. So that's kind of the plan. And then also just relatedly, and also related to the discussion we had on that issue last time, the state served RFPs for those deposition transcripts on August 26th. The responses, I believe, are due September 25th. Meta has filed a motion to stay the case pending the outcome of its writ petitions. They filed that last Friday on order shortening time. The district court set that for hearing on September 25th, the same day those RFP responses are due. So, we'll see what Meta does, but from the state's standpoint, Meta has said
the OST was set 30 days out.
Yeah. So the state's opposition is due September 10th. Meta had asked for a hearing on September 18th, which was an already scheduled status check, but the district court set it a week later for reasons we might learn on September 25th. But whatever the case, coincidentally, those RFP responses for the depot transcripts are due the same day as the hearing on the motion to stay. Meta has said that the documents or the transcripts are available, so hopefully we'll get them on the 25th, but we'll see what happens. Nobody can predict the future, but that's kind of what's going on. The state also served some other RFPs and interrogatories around that same time. So those are out there.
If I can have an opportunity to
Sure.
respond, I'm David Sneed on behalf of Meta for the court reporter. Um, Now, I think the parties have made a lot of progress, and I don't have a lot of disagreement with Mike's kind of summation of what has happened, including with regard to the CMO, which was provided back to the state on last Thursday, and we're anticipating being able to kind of finalize that quickly to be able to submit it to the judge, and we will move very quickly when we receive back the edits that we get from the state. There has been a lot of progress separate and apart from what Mr. Gayan has described, including, at our last special master hearing, we had produced about 285,000 documents, and you had asked me about the timing for further production. We have worked hard to increase the rate of document production to the state, and in the last week, we have gotten up to about 2 million documents having been produced to the state. We made supplemental productions on the 25th and the 29th before the holiday weekend. And that consists of over 9 million pages that have been produced from the MDL in this action. And we've tried to expedite that work. Now, the total for the MDL reproduction is about 2.56 million documents, and we've produced about 2.03 million documents. So we have about 500,000 that are remaining. These documents, though, are not just documents, they're also large data files, and they're going to take some time for us to be able to get into a format to be able to provide to the state. So we're still working hard to do it as quickly as possible. But I wanted to give the court an update on where we stood in terms of the work that was going on for document productions. Besides that, one of the issues that the state had raised in the early stages after our initial disclosures were exchanged was about insurance documents. That was raised at one of our special master hearings. We have, since the time we had our last special master hearing, supplemented our initial disclosures on August 28th, where we have provided the state not only a Bates range for where the insurance documents can be found, but a table that identifies each one of the files that are insurance documents, identified with the name of the file, including the date for the file, as well as the beginning and ending Bates ranges for each one of those individual documents in our initial disclosures, supplemental initial disclosures. So in addition to the work that's been done that was described by Mr. Guy, I think there's been a lot of progress otherwise in terms of our production and our initial disclosure supplementation. We are aware we did receive the supplemental, the request for production, the state's request for production. The state is correct. They've given us a request for production related to the deposition transcripts that we will respond to in the normal course. And the state has provided a total of over 250 requests for production alongside the requests related to the deposition transcripts. So we are working through those. Those were only provided on August 26th and 27th. And so we are working through those and trying to assess what is fully responded to, what needs more work, what might need more time, and we will do our best to respond very expeditiously, raise any issues that we have, and to the extent that we need additional time for some of the requests, we will raise that with the state and talk with the state about that. But we are working hard to proceed in terms of our discovery obligations.
Thank you, Mr. Sneed. On the updates, if you are responding to RFPs with respect to documents that have already been produced as part of the ESI production, it's important that you identify the ranges by Bates numbers.
Understood. In terms of the responses.
So we don't have to have that as part of a motion practice. Let's just skip ahead and make sure you identify by the Bates numbers in doing the responses.
Well, I'll raise that the nature of some of the requests are broad enough such that there may be large swaths of Bates numbers or Bates ranges that could be responsive to a particular request. And so while I will hold off on any particular kind of disputes, I do think some of the breadth of the state's requests may require us to have some type of process to be able to address that, because I fear that the responses might be such a large number of documents that it might not be as helpful or useful.
Well, remember under EDCR 2.34, you got to have a meet and confer related to those issues.
We will do that. We
One
will
of our
certainly do that.
unusual local rules that not everybody understands.
Well, we look forward to meeting and conferring. I've been encouraged by the process of meeting and conferring to this case thus far. We made it through the jurisdictional discovery process with some motion practice, but not too much. And I'm hoping that we can work together to minimize or resolve disputes as they arise.
Your Honor,
Anything?
yeah,
Yes.
may I respond to a couple of points?
Sure.
Okay, so first, I noticed that Raquel Fulgham from the Attorney General's office has joined since we made appearances, so I just wanted to note that for the record. Also, just, and I agree largely with Mr. Sneed's recitation of other things that have gone on. One thing I just wanted to clarify, the 250 or so requests for production sound worse than they are. There's about 70 plus that are overlapping times 3 because there's 3 separate cases. So for purposes of meeting and conferring and whether that mattered to Meta, we broke them out. And so they're largely identical. And if the responses are identical by the 3 different cases, then I don't. So I think it's closer to 100, give or take, unique RFPs. But in any event, we'll work with Mr. Sneed and his co-counsel through those issues. Back to the, well, one other comment. The state sent a meet and confer letter to Meta on August 27th about some issues with Meta's initial disclosures. We've already gotten a preliminary response from Mr. Sneed, so we don't anticipate issues there. We'll just keep working together on those things. And if something can't be resolved, Your Honor will hear from the parties. And then finally, back to the CMO, the deadline to submit that to the court is this Friday. I appreciate Mr. Sneed's characterization that he anticipates, and I agree with it, that we should be able to wrap those things up. So my question for you, Your Honor, is whether you would like to see that before it gets submitted to the
I
district.
don't need to see it. If you guys are reaching an agreement, I don't need to see it. If you
Okay.
have a dispute, I'll see it. If you've reached an agreement, sign it, send it to the judge.
Great, thank you.
I'm
We will
only
do.
here to help you with your disputes and keep you on track.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Waite?
I have nothing to add, Your Honor. Thank you.
Then I think you've covered all the issues I had. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and good luck finishing up your CMO. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you, Your Honor.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.